You are walking down a strangely quiet sidewalk on a Tuesday afternoon. The air is crisp, and people are moving with serious, focused expressions, lost in their complex lives. A few feet ahead of you, a person dressed in an expensive suit trips over an entirely invisible crack in the concrete. Their pristine leather shoes catch the edge of the pavement, and gravity violently claims them. Their arms flail wildly in the air like a bird desperately trying to fly backward. Their heavy briefcase bursts open, scattering white papers like confetti across the dirty asphalt. Then, they hit the pavement with a sickening, echoing thud. Your conscious mind instantly recognizes the extreme gravity of the situation. You know they might be badly hurt, bruised, bleeding, or at the very least, experiencing a wave of profound social embarrassment. Your sophisticated moral compass screams at you to sprint forward, offer a hand, and ask if they need help. But before your empathy can even boot up its operating system, your physical body completely betrays your morality. A sharp, loud, and entirely involuntary giggle escapes your lips. It shoots out of your throat before you can even clench your jaw to stop it. You cover your mouth instantly, feeling a burning wave of toxic shame wash over your face and neck. You look around frantically, desperately hoping nobody saw you smile at another human being's sudden agony. You feel like an absolute monster, a terrifying glitch in humanity. But you are not alone, and you are not broken. Modern neuroscience reveals a startling timeline hidden inside your neural architecture. It takes your advanced brain roughly 400 milliseconds to consciously process another person's physical pain and calculate an empathetic response. Yet, it takes less than 200 milliseconds to trigger the physical, muscular urge to laugh out loud at them. Your biology decided the trauma was hilarious a full 0.2 of a second before your conscious mind even knew a human being had fallen down. Why is our default hardwired biological response to witnessing physical trauma comedy? What twisted neurological design makes a bruised knee or a broken posture inherently amusing to watch? The answer is not a dark flaw in your morality. It is an ancient, deeply wired survival code, a merciless, highly efficient protective mechanism that kept your prehistoric ancestors alive in environments of extreme danger. You are about to discover that this seemingly cruel reflex is the reason human society managed to survive the wild. It changes everything you think you know about your own kindness, your brain, and your dark sense of humor. But to understand why you laugh at bruised knees today, we have to look closely at what your brain is scanning for in that brutal split second. Let's rewind the evolutionary clock roughly 4 million years into the distant past. We are standing barefoot on the dry, unforgiving grass of the prehistoric African savanna. This is an era completely devoid of modern safety, existing millions of years before stand-up comedy or internet fail videos were even a whisper in the human mind. In this chaotic landscape, everyday life was not a pursuit of happiness. It was a continuous, agonizing, breathless fight against sudden and violent death. Every tiny rustle in the dense bushes, every snap of a dry twig in the dark, or every sudden collapse of a fellow tribe member meant only one terrifying thing. Mortal danger was near. A hidden, hyper-lethal predator was leaping from the shadows, or a deadly environmental trap had just been sprung. Because of this unforgiving reality, constant panic was the absolute default operating state of the early human nervous system. If one person panicked, the entire tribe needed to drop whatever they were doing and sprint for the trees instantly. They had to waste massive amounts of precious, hard-earned metabolic energy on every single false alarm. An incorrect guess about a threat could literally mean dying of extreme physical exhaustion later in the afternoon. Every calorie burned during a meaningless panic attack brought the group dangerously closer to starvation. This meant early humans desperately, urgently needed a biological system to regulate their collective fear. They needed a way to communicate instantly across a vast distance without screaming and actually attracting real predators to their location. And that is exactly where the secret, violent origin of human laughter begins. Early humans did not invent laughter to express happiness, joy, or intellectual amusement. They engineered it through millions of years of natural selection as a biological siren, perfectly designed to stop the tribe from wasting energy on a false panic attack. It was a defensive broadcast system built directly into the respiratory tract. Dr. Villayanur S. Ramachandran, a world-renowned neuroscientist at the University of California, San Diego, formalized this mind-bending discovery through his extensive work on the false alarm theory of laughter. His decades of research show that laughter originated as an involuntary vocal signal, directed specifically at our peers. It was a primal way of telling the rest of the terrified group, stand down. The horrific threat you thought you saw is completely harmless. Imagine an ancient hunter slipping on a wet rock and violently tumbling down a steep hill. The rest of the tribe would instantly freeze, gripping their spears, their hearts pounding at a terrifying 180 beats per minute, fully expecting a saber-toothed cat to emerge from the brush. But when the fallen hunter sat up, rubbed his head, and groaned loudly, the tribe would suddenly burst into a rhythmic, loud, barking vocalization. They were not laughing because the fall was funny. They were literally barking to forcefully relieve the immense collective tension threatening to tear their nervous systems apart. So, laughter was never originally a joke. It was a life-saving, evolutionary all-clear signal. And the precise, mechanical way this ancient siren operates inside your modern nervous system right now is almost terrifyingly automatic. When you witness someone lose their physical balance and crash heavily into the floor today, your brain does not see a social accident. It performs a complex multi-stage threat calculation in the absolute blink of an eye. First, your highly sensitive visual cortex registers a violent, impossible anomaly in the environment. Gravity is suddenly defied. Human posture is broken in an unpredictable, chaotic, and dangerous trajectory. The primitive threat response mechanism buried deep inside your brain, the amygdala, spikes instantly with chemical alarm. Your blood pressure rises sharply, your major muscle groups tighten, your pupils dilate, and your brain prepares your body to either fight a predator or sprint for your life. Your internal alarm is blaring at full maximum volume. But here is the hidden detail that almost everyone ignores, and it is the exact reason why this channel looks at science differently. Your brain demands an immediate absolute resolution to that massive neurological adrenaline spike. It cannot just leave the chemical alarm system running without a clear, identifiable cause, or you would suffer a heart attack from pure stress. Within a fraction of a single second, your highly evolved, highly logical frontal lobe steps in to aggressively evaluate the incoming visual data stream. It scans the fallen person's facial expressions, the surrounding environment, and the sheer severity of the physical impact. If the person who fell groans in annoyance but starts to move their legs, or if the fall looks fundamentally clumsy rather than instantly fatal, your frontal lobe completely overrides the primitive amygdala. It sends a rapid, overwhelming chemical text message across your vast neural pathways. Incongruity resolved. There is no blood on the floor. There is no predator in the room. Stand down immediately. But that rapid de-escalation creates a massive physiological problem inside your body. You now have a giant wave of pent-up adrenaline floating through your system with absolutely nowhere to go. The emergency was officially canceled, but the explosive fuel was already injected straight into the engine. To prevent an internal systemic crash, your nervous system demands an immediate physical exit route for that trapped energy. Your brainstem automatically takes complete physical control of your body. Your diaphragm begins to spasm violently and uncontrollably. Your vocal cords contract into tight rhythmic intervals, blocking and releasing air at high speed. You forcefully emit a loud, repetitive, barking sound directly from your chest cavity. You laugh. You are literally discharging the pure survival adrenaline that your amygdala generated just a millisecond earlier. You do this every single time you see a close friend trip over a perfectly flat surface, crash heavily into a cheap plastic chair, and you immediately look around to check if anyone else noticed the glitch in the matrix. You are not celebrating their misfortune. You are physically resetting your own overloaded nervous system after surviving a false alarm. You are shouting to the world that the universe is safe for another minute. But this mechanism is not just a wild evolutionary guess. A fascinating, highly rigorous psychological experiment proved exactly how dark and precise our internal sense of relief gets when we watch other people suffer. To find the exact boundary where human pain magically turns into human amusement, we have to look at the groundbreaking work of Dr. Peter McGraw. In 2010, this brilliant behavioral scientist at the University of Colorado Boulder became completely obsessed with decoding the precise mathematical formula behind what makes the human brain crack up. He wanted to map the irrefutable anatomy of amusement. He wanted to know the exact formula of a joke. This deep academic obsession led directly to the creation of the now famous benign violation theory. To test this radical theory, Dr. McGraw and his dedicated research team set up a highly controlled laboratory environment. They gathered hundreds of unsuspecting participants and systematically exposed them to an increasingly disturbing and bizarre series of scenarios. The researchers showed them everything, from a church aggressively offering a luxury SUV as a raffle prize to highly graphic videos of people violently falling down steep flights of concrete stairs. Using precise timing tracking, The researchers rigorously mapped the exact millisecond where a participant's expression shifted from disgust and horror into genuine, uncontrollable amusement. The massive set of data they uncovered shocked the academic psychology community to its core. They discovered a chilling, almost robotic precision to human laughter. Amusement absolutely requires two highly conflicting conditions to exist at the exact same time. First, there absolutely must be a violation, a physical threat to safety, a violently broken social norm, or a massive disruption of structural gravity. Someone must fall down, a sacred rule must be broken, or a human body must temporarily fail. Second, that exact violation must be calculated by the brain as entirely benign. The person cannot be dead, the threat cannot be real to the physical observer, and there must be extreme psychological distance from the actual pain. If the situation is too benign, your brain finds it completely boring and ignores it. If it is too much of a violation, if there is a horrific bone snapping or genuine tragedy, the frontal lobe instantly fails to override the amygdala. When that happens, you experience pure, unfiltered horror, intense empathy, or crippling sadness. Comedy is nothing more than a razor-thin line trapped forever between pure boredom and pure horror. The study proved something profoundly liberating about the dark architecture of your mind. You do not laugh because you are secretly evil or deeply malicious. You laugh because your brain successfully calculated the exact intersection of a severe structural violation and a comforting lack of actual physical danger. This monumental study was officially published under the title Benign Violation Theory by McGraw and Warren in 2010 within the journal Psychological Science. This cold, lightning-fast mathematical calculation used to save our fragile lives when we were hiding from predators in the jungle. But in our hyper-connected modern world, this ancient biological wiring has mutated into something entirely different. The ultimate turning point in human behavioral history occurred with the invention of the camera and eventually, the infinite digital loop of the modern internet. We rapidly moved from watching our local tribe members trip over tree roots in the mud to mindlessly scrolling through endless TikTok fail compilations of absolute strangers hurting themselves across the globe. With this massive technological shift, we permanently lost something incredibly vital to the human experience. We lost the physical proximity to the original false alarm. When you see someone fall heavily in real life, you still experience a tiny, visceral microsecond of actual physical tension because you are standing in the exact same room. You share their immediate reality. But when you watch a compressed video online, you no longer need to check if the fallen person is genuinely safe. The glowing glass screen of your smartphone acts as a permanent, bulletproof, artificial benign filter. Your brain automatically knows with absolute certainty that the person bleeding on the screen cannot possibly hurt you, and that their tragedy is completely disconnected from your safe physical reality. But in exchange for that loss of proximity, we also gained something fascinating and weirdly beautiful. We developed a universal, entirely unspoken global language of physical comedy. Slapstick humor became the first truly global currency of human entertainment. We unlocked a bizarre ability to instantly bond with millions of absolute strangers over a shared automated biological reflex to someone else's misfortune. Think about the profound irony at the absolute center of our modern existence. We painstakingly built the most technologically advanced communication network in the history of human civilization. A miraculous global web capable of sharing infinite academic knowledge, complex philosophy, and transcendent art. Yet we eagerly use a staggering chunk of its expensive digital bandwidth just to sit in the dark and watch each other lose basic fights against the laws of gravity. We launched multi-billion-dollar satellites into the cold vacuum of space just so we could instantly watch a stranger slip on an ice patch on the other side of the planet. Right now, you can open an app and scroll continuously through hours of people falling off skateboards and tripping over living room rugs. And your ancient, prehistoric brain will happily mindlessly flood your modern nervous system with highly addictive waves of warm dopamine. It actively rewards you with chemical pleasure for surviving a terrifying threat that was never even inside your room in the first place. Your instinctive, unstoppable urge to laugh out loud at a tripping stranger is not a moral failure or a sign of a cruel heart. It is a brilliant victory of your evolutionary programming, a loud physical confirmation that the terrifying world around you is, for this one microscopic split second, completely safe. It is literally the exact sound of your ancient survival mechanism finally breathing a heavy sigh of relief. But if our purest moments of intense joy are so deeply tied to witnessing the momentary physical failures of others, It forces us to look deeply into a very dark mirror. It makes you fundamentally question the very nature of human empathy and social connection. How much of our collective laughter is actually a form of warm celebration for the survivor, and how much of it is just a deeply selfish relief that the victim on the ground was not us. We desperately like to believe we are fully civilized, highly evolved creatures ruled exclusively by pure logic and deep compassion. But right beneath the thin surface of your modern clothes and your polite social etiquette, your brain is still operating entirely on the brutal logic of the ancient savannah. Think carefully about the exact last time you laughed out loud at another person getting physically hurt or making a massive public mistake. Were you genuinely laughing because you knew deep down that they were completely safe? Or were you laughing with chemical relief because you knew you were the one who was still standing up? Empathy is the powerful illusion that makes us feel human. But gravity is the brutal reality